a cursed kingdom, a haunted Ivy League, and a wretched, cruel prince that by the end of the book, I was like, well, he has his reasons, hear him out. What's up, stranger dangers of the internet? I am Princess, and this is I Judge Books, Not People. And today, I'm going to give my opinion on the last 3 books that I read that no one asked for, right? And I'm okay with that, because I'm judging the books, and none of the people that actually like these books. I usually don't do like quick little reviews like this. I usually do like a big monthly recap, but these 3 books, I don't know, I've just been in my fantasy bag lately, and I needed someone to talk to. I needed to get it out. I needed to vent, and that's what this is. We have a romantasy sequel, a dark academia debut with a supernatural twist, and an epic historical fantasy that, in my humble opinion, that no one asked for, is way more intense than the marketing would like you to believe it is. I am talking about Rites of the Starlights, an Arcane Inheritance, and last but not least, the Poet Empress. Let's just get right into it. Okay, the first book of the week, I picked up Rites of the Starling by Devney Perry. This is the sequel to Shield of Sparrows. This one picks up with all 5 kingdoms of Calandria on the brink of destruction from the Crux migration approaching. Main character Odessa is separated from her man, Xavier, due to the Crux attacks in the last book. Odessa ends up finding herself hunted and kind of low-key on the run with this little girl who she's trying to keep safe, all while uncovering truths about her own family and stepping into her destiny of becoming a guardian. I don't really know how to rate this book. I'm a bit in the air about this. Here's why. Did I like the book as a whole? Sure. But I don't think it's fair because of these reasons here. The entire book, I was confusion. The entire book. Up until about like 90%. And I don't know how I feel about that. Like, it got to a point where, and I'm talking about like the middle of the book, where I had to put the book down and go to Reddit, not for spoilers, but to make sure, like, am I the crazy one? Am I the odd man out? Am I the only one completely lost? Who are these people? Where do they come from? What's happening? How do these... At first I was like, oh, they're time traveling. I was trying to put the pieces together. My brain was trying to figure it out, and it was just like the entire book. And Reddit really made me feel seen. Reddit truly made me feel like, nah, you're not alone. This is the most confusing who, what, where, when, and why. The other thing I will say, because there was like all of this new information, I kind of felt like the maps didn't really correlate. Oh, but hear me out. I think it just landed. I think because, I think it just landed why the maps didn't make sense. It just landed. I'm not going to spoil anything for anybody, but just know the maps or the map doesn't entirely make sense for you, like reading it at like a current day. Wink, wink. Back on track. So, rating. I still don't know. I still don't know if it's fair. Was the ending spectacular? Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Was it devastating? Was it emotional? Was it well written? Was it everything that I wanted? Absolutely. Yes. But I don't think it's fair to have, you read an entire book. I don't know what to give it. The ending was great, but the beginning and the middle and all of that, okay, am I basing this off of feelings? Yeah, sure. And, right? Like, I didn't like that. I didn't like being confused. I went down a Reddit rabbit hole because of this book. So I don't know. I don't know if you guys rate it based on how it ended for you. Because if I'm gonna rate it based on like how it ended for me, this was a cool 4 stars. But I got to a point where like, frick this, I'm gonna DNF because again, who, what, where, when, and why. If you're not gonna give me any answers, I don't know. The overall book, I would say a solid 3.5. The ending was great. The ending was fantastic. That's how I feel about it. And then I love the world building. I loved all of that, but I still wasn't satiated. And I'm usually not a huge fantasy reader. I like a good fantasy, but all of this whole past week was nothing but fantasy. And I just wasn't satiated, you know? The Rites of Starling didn't crunch the thirst, you know? And I immediately went into the Arcane of Inheritance. An Arcane of Inheritance by Kamilah Cole. This is a modern day dark academia. This one follows Ellery, who is a freshman, and she is determined to prove herself at Warren University, which is an Ivy League with a bunch of like occult rumors surrounding this Ivy League. As she settles in, she starts to get this like overwhelming sense of deja vu, and then it gets a little bit more sinister because she starts feeling like she's been here before and she has all of these memories that she can't really explain. And then underneath all of this Ivy League grandeur is hidden secret societies built on forbidden magic of some of the most marginalized students there. This was a solid debut. It was okay. This was a solid 3. I wouldn't necessarily say that it was a letdown, and I don't really like comparing this because it doesn't make sense. These are 2 completely different fantasies. I understand that this was a modern day dark academia, but for me, coming out of the world, Shields of Sparrow, Rites of the Starling, that whole thing, the world building and being like deep in it, and then coming to something that's just a little bit more easier to get into, modern day, I had a hard time getting into the story. It was good, but I wasn't enthralled. Didn't grab me. I think there's something about the dark academia, sinister campus. I like it. I haven't read one that like really captivated me, and this is also in that arena where it was just like okay, nothing wowed me, nothing was like a serious plot twist. I kind of saw how it was gonna end, I kind of saw what was around the corner. Nothing really grabbed me. Again, it was good, but I wasn't enthralled. I wasn't immersed in the world. And again, I'm very aware that not every fantasy has to be world building. Not every fantasy has to be in some different realm or whatever. I understand that. I think reading a modern day fantasy, it kind of keeps you in reality when you want escapism. And so again, good book. I just think it didn't crunch the thirst, if that makes sense. Like, I read Rites of Starling and I was just like, I'm still thirsty. I still want more. I'm still not satiated. I want to dive into the world, you know what I'm saying? And coming out of that and into an Arcane Inheritance, I still didn't get my thirst crunched until I read book 3, The Poet Empress. What a book. Are you listening to me? All right. Book 3, The Poet Empress by Shen Tao. Shen Tao? You know what? Let me be normal. Shen Tao. Shen Tao? I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is her debut, and this is set in the waning years of the Azalea dynasty, where there's an emperor who's dying and there's a famine across the land, and in comes this rice farmer's daughter, and she volunteers herself as a concubine to help her family not starve to death. And when she finally gets into the house, she realizes that she has to harden her heart, and she learns literomancy, which is poetry magic, and she has to learn all of this in secret. She has to learn, one, how to read, and then also learn literomancy in secret, and all of this changes the fate of an entire empire. This is actually a lot more devastating, darker themes than I think was marketed. This is probably my first true and honest to goodness 5-star reads of 2026. I kind of went into this kind of blind. I'm not gonna lie. I picked this up because of you. I picked this up because of the internet. I did. I picked this up because I felt like everyone was just talking about it and reading it and all of the things. I was like, okay, sure. You know what I mean? Like, okay, sure. Why not? And I don't know if going into it kind of blind. I mean, I knew the genre of it, but I didn't know that much about the plot. from the first page, I was locked in. I was like, oh wait, there's a famine. She's burying her little sister because she's starved to death. First page. Like, what? What a book. Hold on, let me backtrack a bit. I'm not trying to compare books. I'm really not. But also, this is what I wanted from Rites of Starling. This is what I wanted to be enthralled from jump. I wanted to be in the fantasy from the first page. From the first page, you're burying your dead sister because she's starved to death, and there's famine everywhere, and oh my God, when I tell you I was locked in from page 1 to the end of the page, there was no let up. There was no like, oh, it's kind of boring, it's kind of slow, and there has to be a word. Like, this book was so good. And that sentence, this book was so good, it doesn't do it justice, if I'm being honest. It doesn't do it justice. I also didn't think that I would like a political fantasy. What? Little old me? Liking a political fantasy I just thought was so boring. This, I gotta tell you, I was wrong, first of all. And I'm not saying I'm gonna go like dive into the next political fantasy. I promise you, I won't. But this political fantasy, delicious, devastating, so good. I don't know what else, what's better than good? Better? Great? Amazing? I don't know. But it was all of those things. Everything about this book was just top tier. Everything. The character development, pacing, chef's kiss, plot twist. Honestly, it got to a point where I was like, ooh, I already know what's around the corner. I know. I mean, I could say it because it did not happen. It doesn't matter. It didn't. But that's where I'm saying, like, the plot twist was actually a twist. And not only was it a good twist, it was a devastating twist. One of the only, and I wouldn't even say an issue, but I wish I could have read with my eyes and my ears with this. This was an audiobook for me. It was great audiobook. But when I say I requested this, maybe like 16 weeks ago, and I just recently got it from Libby, and I didn't think too much of it. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. And when it comes, it comes. But when I got into the book, I was like, I really want to immersive read this. Mainly because my Western ears, I was having not necessarily a problem with the names, but trying to put the names to the characters. And I think it would have been easier for me if I could visually see the names. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I could visually see how it's spelled and pronounced and with the characters in my brain, like, that would have been so much better for me. It was a great audio read, but for my Western ears, listening to these names, you know what I'm saying? Foreign names to me, it was still great. I think I just would have had an easier time getting into the book. I think I would have had an easier time. It wouldn't have been such a struggle, me trying to like, wait, who is this character again? Which one is this? That kind of thing. But again, all of my libraries, they were all checked out, so I couldn't do that. It's fine. But that's my only gripe, is that I wish I could have immersive read this, but the audiobook was fantastic. Also, let me explain myself. I am team Taryn. I am. I know. And I can't even really talk about it because I don't want to spoil anything, but I just feel like he never even had a chance. He never had a chance. Morally gray, yes. Well, more black than gray, but still, I don't know. I feel like that might be an unpopular opinion. And I'm not saying I agree with any of the things he has done. I need someone to talk to about this. Because I'm team Taryn. I am team hurt people. Okay? And he just needed an opportunity to change. He needed an opportunity to be a better man, to be a better emperor. And he could have. If you have read Any of the three, especially the Poet Empress, let me know in the comment section. I desperately need to chit chat. You know what I'm saying? I need to yap. I need to vent to people. I need to hear your thoughts, because these three books, I think, hit differently for different people's emotional states of when they read them, right? Well, that's it for what I read this past week. Yeah, this past week. I think I might do more of these like snippet book reviews instead of waiting for the month to end to just do like a whole book review. I like these little, these little nuggets from here and there. But yeah, I had to get this off my chest. I needed to vent. Also, in the comment section, let me know if you haven't read any of these, but if I convinced you to read any of these, or if any of these are about to be on your TBR. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for liking if you liked. I did it again. I made a whole another video. Thank you so much. You're enough. Okay, thanks. Bye.